For my Honoring Women project, I decided to honor Demi Lovato. Now we're focusing on mental illness in regards to the class material. First, I want to give a little background about her life. She had a tough childhood growing up. Her dad was an alcoholic and he also did drugs, and he chose that over his family. She was bullied at school, and the kids there called her a whore and that she was fat. In her documentary, she explained how there was a petition in her school by the kids so she would kill herself. This is where her eating disorder began. All while this was happening, she was doing beauty pageants and working on her singing and acting skills. She first appeared in Barney at age 10. But her big break was when she booked Camp Rock at age 15. Around the same time her singing career was taking off, she has hit songs from albums like Confident and Tell Me You Love Me. She was accumulating fame at a young age. Now, I'm interested in mental illness because I believe it's a serious topic that needs to be talked about and a less taboo topic. There are a number of mental disorders and a number of factors that contribute to developing a mental illness, but I will focus more on the society and culture as a risk factor. As Western culture has an idea of a woman are supposed to look like and act, which can lead to a number of stressors and pressure, and there are a number of mental disorders that are more common in women. I will focus on depression, eating disorders, and anxiety, and I will be briefly describing them for the sake of the video. The first one is depression. Depression is described as feeling of worthlessness, sadness, lack of energy, helplessness, eating disturbances, and so on. There are also a number of different depressive disorders, but they all can make it impossible to get the motivation to do daily tasks, and women are more at risk for depression than men. The second mental illness is eating disorders. There are 3 common ones. The first one is anorexia nervosa. This causes someone to feel fat and they obsess over being skinny, which causes a disruption of one's body image. This group of individuals extremely limits calorie intake, and if they do eat, they then perform extreme exercise. And the second one is bulimia, which also involves feelings of being fat and a need to lose weight. But this group of people do eat, but when they do eat, it's in extreme amounts, which is called binging. But straight after, they feel guilty, so they purge. This can cause someone to have a normal body image, unlike anorexia nervosa. And the third one is binge eating, and this just involves periods of overeating without purging. These disorders appear to be prevalent worldwide. In the US, women make up the majority of cases though. Then there is anxiety. Anxiety is described as feelings of fear and worry that are consistent and intervene with daily activities. Again, this is a disorder that has many forms. One of them is panic disorders, which involves experiencing panic attacks without warning. Another one is agoraphobia, which involves fearing being out in public because a panic attack might occur. A third one is post-traumatic stress, or PTSD, which usually occurs because of trauma. It could be because of abuse or a natural disaster. But the question is, why are some disorders more prevalent in women? Well, in regards to depression, married women and women with many children are more at risk. It's also that the feminine role may predispose women to depression, as it can encourage them to feel helpless and powerless. Another thing is that women tend to ruminate or internalize their feelings. Women also face more stressors like discrimination, poverty, and are more vulnerable to violence. It can also be because of a toxic social environment. This can be defined as competition and inequality that occurs in society. Then in regards to eating disorders, culture could be a reason, as the US, Uganda, and China all have different views regarding beauty and attractiveness. As in Uganda and China, heavier women are preferred or seen as more attractive, but this is different in the US, as skinny is seen as attractive. This can lead to feeling trapped or anxious to meet the feminine requirements in the culture. And in regards to anxiety, again, the feminine role can cause this, as historically women have been told not to wander to certain places at certain times because they may be dangerous, and this can contribute to being fearful. Now we'll talk about diagnosis and treatment. In regards to diagnosis, many times people don't seek help because of the stigma behind it, or they may not be aware that they have an illness. This can also depend on the culture. But women are more likely to have multiple disorders and at the same time, and they are more likely to seek help, perhaps because it's more socially acceptable that women talk about their feelings because men are supposed to be the stronger ones. Then in regards to treatment, it's important to admit that one needs help. There are many forms of treatment and often some are combined. There are support groups and psychotherapy, and these can be useful to develop good coping skills. There's also drug therapy. As previously mentioned, I will honor Demi Lovato as she is a young woman who grew up in the spotlight with a number of disorders and still continues to fight every day and raises awareness. In her documentary, Demi Lovato Simply Complicated, it was revealed that she had a bipolar disorder, which are episodes of depression and mania, an eating disorder, which in her case is bulimia, and substance abuse disorder. I believe they were all diagnosed before she was 20, but I could be wrong. Regardless, this is a lot because she is still young. Some of these were passed down in the family, and another was developed through bullying, and society. After Demi got bullied, she started to go online and through magazines to see how other girls looked, and she also wanted to be as skinny as them because that was beautiful to her. Now, how does she live with all these disorders? Well, like her, there are many people who live with mental illness. She first admitted that she needed help and got it with the help of her family and friends. She expresses herself through music as a form of therapy. These are lyrics from a song she has called Sober. And then she also goes to the gym and does boxing to keep herself busy. Lastly, she has a platform and she uses it to raise awareness. She openly talked about her mental illness on her social media and interviews. She also signed up to be the face of Be Vocal, Speak Up for Mental Health campaign. And this is where she raised awareness. And then here in the middle picture, she has tattooed on her wrist, Stay Strong. These are just some ways that she gets through her illnesses and goes on every day. And that is all I have for today. Thank you.